Merry Christmas, Chris Abel.
Yay! Merry Christmas, guys. Happy holidays. Fantastic.
You are,
if they're here, yay.
They're here, yay. You are a Chris. Are you a Kringle at all in the family tree?
Yes. Not everybody gets that spelling, but yes, Chris Kringle. The K is very important.
It is. Krisabel. Real Chris Abel on all the socials and .com if you want to get connected with Chris. Now, every single week throughout the year, Chris has been here talking about tech and all the cool things that are out there. And, you know, sometimes it's about toys, but lots of times it's about robotics and cool things and AI and all that. And I thought maybe we could kind of go back in time a little bit here, Chris. I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about some of the best of all time, because I don't know about you, but when you were able to get that one magical Christmas gift that means the world to you, was there one gift that really set you apart? Because I have one, and I remember when I got it, because I took it to bed with me. We were up so early to see if Santa came. And I took it back to bed and we went back to sleep even with this toy. So what was yours?
Well, the toys that stand out for me that I sort of keep thinking about just because, wow, you know, I'm amazed they exist. One of the first toys was Evel Knievel and his stunt cycle. Evel Knievel in real life was the stuntman, these amazing jumps with a rocket-powered motorcycle. You could actually get the toy version of him. It was an action doll on a plastic motorcycle. But what I liked was, unlike other toys where you would wind them up and they would go, or you use a ripcord, the Evel Knievel stunt cycle had a machine called an Energizer. You connected it up with a hand crank, and it would make this amazing sound to it. So that's something I often think about. And then the $6 Million Man was the other action toy of the same time. And I mean, it had a bionic grip. It also had a bionic eye. You looked through a hole in the back of his head. You had telescopic vision. But what stood out for me was you could roll the flesh up on his forearm like a sleeve. It creeped me out just to be able to access chipsets inside. It always kind of fascinated me. I became kind of obsessed with it, but it repulsed me at the same time. So, you know, that's a standout toy for me.
It's interesting that you bring both those up, because I haven't thought about those toys, Chris, in so long, and I remember them both. I remember that sound of that crank with the Evel Knievel motorcycle. I can see how big it was.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And then the $6 Million Man, even as we prepared to have this conversation, I was like, oh, what does that mean? But then as soon as you said roll up the skin, I was like, oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
Crazy
and it's funny because those themes, I mean, you know, it's easy to look down on that toy, but those themes are still very relevant today. There are people getting bionic contact lenses. There are biohackers, people who are implanting chipsets into their forearms. So it's funny that that toy still holds up.
It does very much hold up. In fact, I was thinking it kind of tells us a lot about you and what you love to talk about. Yeah. Okay, so for me, I have a couple. One of the things that kept coming into my mind was there was those Hot Wheels that they were the smash 'em ones where you hit the doors and they would turn and they would be all smashed up and then you could fix them and kind of snap them back again.
That was
I remember
amazing.
those ones. Those ones stuck with me a lot, but there's one particular toy. It was Hot Wheels, but it was like a cargo airplane that you could drive your cars in the back, and the front end of this big cargo plane would open up. There was a ramp, and you could drive your cars in there, and then you fly the plane around, of course, and then you land, and then you take your Hot Wheels out of it like a cargo plane. And the reason why that one, I think why it means a lot is I loved airplanes. I always wanted to be a pilot. And we got it in Winnipeg when we were visiting my grandparents, a family trip, my mom, my dad, me, and my sister. And it was my first trip on an airplane. And wow. I remember the smoking section back then of the airplane. And that morning on Christmas morning, it also stands out because it was the year that the Cabbage Patch Dolls came out.
Oh, yes.
And my sister did not get one. She got a doll, but they were in demand and hard to get, right?
Yeah.
And I remember we got up in the morning to check if Santa had come, and we went out and went back to bed because the parents were still sleeping. And it was cold Winnipeg morning, going back to sleep and then waking up with my arm around a giant plastic airplane.
Oh, that's nice.
Those are fun, right?
Yeah.
So what is a magical toy for you? Like, I mean, when a kid gets a toy, it can just be like something that they use and something that they kind of move on from. But what's a magical toy?
For me, anything that sort of acts like a key that unlocks an entire world. You know, you play with it and suddenly you just keep playing for a very long time. You begin to realize there's so much more to explore. And I think Lego falls into that category for me. I love talking about Lego, but I'm often asked, like, what does that have to do with technology? So I've got 2 clips I want to play that kind of speak to that. First, we're going to listen to Joel Gibbert, who is the co-founder of Open Bionics. He's created the most advanced bionic hand prosthetics that are in the world. And recently, he was being interviewed on a show in England, and they said, Joel, what gave you this interest? What got you started in bionics? So the answer is quite interesting. Have a listen.
Well, playing with Lego as a child got me really interested in technology. That evolved into electronics and robotics. And then I wanted to do something that would have a positive social impact with technology. So got really into bionic hands and prosthetics.
So
never underestimate it.
Lego to bionic hands. I think that's amazing.
It's a beautiful thing. I remember building Lego and have these big grand ideas in your mind and then not having enough of the same color blocks. Inventory management was the key.
Yes.
With all of those things. Okay, so Lego unlocking sort of toys and ideas for everybody. So where does that go, though? What does that also create? I mean, bionics is a pretty big jump for a kid to be able to inspire. I love it.
It can be. And of course, you think bionics is something that's way advanced or something that you have to kind of come from a privileged family to have. So I want to mention another clip. A couple of years ago, I got to hang out with a bunch of girls. Thanks to a program called Girls Crack the Code here in Toronto. And they are a company that they take girls from underprivileged neighborhoods and they connect them up to programs where they get access to new technology. They get to build, they get to code, they get to make things. And so I got to hang out with a girl named Fizza, and she was telling me about a really cool project that did involve Lego with her and the other girls where they got to do something that was a lot more advanced. Have a listen.
I think back in 2015, we made a robot. We created a robot with like little Lego pieces, and then we programmed it, and it was just really cool. And we used an Arduino. It was pretty rad.
I love that she describes Arduino as being pretty rad. That's pretty cool.
Rad. It's neat to think, though, the impact. Doesn't it make you wonder how many kids, because Lego was everywhere, especially in the 80s, right? And now it is again. It does kind of make you wonder, like, if you really look at it, how many people are interior designers but don't realize it came from Lego or an Etch-a-Sketch or something like that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the gang at Pixar, when they're making their animated films, often they'll use Lego to model out some of the ships that they're making for the cartoons before they actually start drawing them. So it's kind of an amazing tool set that can lead to so many other occupations out there. It's pretty neat.
Okay. Not all kids have access to Lego. It is a bit expensive, and not everybody's from a kind of place where they can get all these toys easily.
Yeah, and this year the news headlines have been full of reports about how it's been a tough year financially for a lot of people. We've had a lot of rough situations. So I did kind of want to give out a shout out to all the people who are having to be very creative this Christmas. Fizza, who we just heard talking about Lego there, the program that I connected her with, Girls Crack the Code, is about connecting girls from underprivileged neighborhoods. She comes from an area here in Toronto called Regent Park. And so I asked her about that kind of background. What's it like to be from that neighborhood?
So we live in Regent Park, and most people don't think very highly of that area, which is wrong because really we have so many intelligent and brilliant people, and people need to start seeing that.
A salute to all the parents who work hard for their kids, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I love chatting with Fizza because I also come from one of those neighborhoods in Toronto. I grew up at Jane and Finch, which has a really bad reputation. And I remember that my first Christmas was a lean year, that my father did have to be creative. All he could afford was one gift for me. So Christmas morning, I came down and there was just a box of crayons underneath the tree. And he went, "Oh, is that it?" And he made this big move of looking around and saying, "Oh, there's got to be something else here." And he hunted amongst the branches of the tree. And he started to produce these little scrolls. He'd unravel them and go, look, here's a picture of a fire engine for you to color. Look, this is a circus that you could color. And although I was really young, I kind of figured out what had happened, that he had taken the coloring book that came with the crayons, had chopped it up, and rolled it into these little scrolls to try to make one gift seem like it was 6 or 7. And then to create this activity where we were hunting and looking for the scrolls amongst the branches of the tree. And I mean, I wasn't going to hide my disappointment that there wasn't a toy under the tree, but I greatly appreciated the effort that he was putting in to try to make Christmas very, very special. And so to any parents this year who are also facing having to have a creative Christmas, I just want to say, don't give up, put in the effort. Your kids might be a little disappointed at first, but these are the kind of memories that over time, they do hold their value.
Well, exactly right. I think it's a beautiful thing. A salute to all the parents who work so hard. RealChrisAble.com and Real Chris Able on the socials. Chris, thank you. Merry Christmas.
All right. Merry Christmas, guys.